To begin a volleyball game, one must serve the ball over the net in order to accumulate points. Depending upon the skill of the server, points may be collected with only one single touch on the ball. This point is called an ace, or the server may direct the ball to the weakest person on the opposing team.
The 4 phases in a volleyball serve are the stance phase, preparatory phase, movement phase, and follow-through phase. The stance phase is when the ball is held out in front with the right hand with slight protraction and the feet are parallel to one another. The preparatory phase is when the ball has been released and the left arm and hand have been externally rotated and extended fully. For the movement phase, the right arm is adducted. The left arm is flexed and internally rotated, producing impact with the ball. The follow-through phase, the ball has been released and the left arm is decelerating. There are 3 cardinal planes of motion with a correlating axis of rotation for each plane. The sagittal plane divides the body into 2 halves about a frontal axis which includes flexion and extension. The frontal plane divides the body into anterior and posterior halves about a sagittal axis including adduction and abduction. And lastly, the transverse plane divides the body into top and bottom halves about a longitudinal axis which includes internal and external rotation. All of these planes and axes take place at some point throughout the volleyball serve.
There are isometric, concentric, and eccentric contractions in the volleyball serve. The 3 contractions occur at different phases. For example, at the stance phase, there are isometric contractions occurring. Isometric contractions are when muscles are contracting or firing, but the joint angle and muscle length do not change. For example, in the stance phase, the middle and lower trapezius and the rhomboids are adducting isometrically in the shoulder girdle for the right arm. A concentric muscle contraction is a type of muscle activation that increases tension on a muscle as it shortens. Concentric contractions are normally types of muscle activations that athletes use when lifting weights in a gym. In the preparatory phase, there are concentric contractions on the right side of the body. For example, the middle and lower fibers of the trapezius and the rhomboids are adducting. There are also concentric contractions in the movement phase, when the pectoralis minor and the serratus anterior are abducting. An eccentric muscle contraction is a type of muscle activation that increases tension on a muscle as it lengthens. Eccentric contractions typically occur when a muscle opposes a stronger force, which causes the muscle to lengthen as it contracts. In the follow-through phase of the volleyball serve, the pectoralis minor, serratus anterior, trapezius, middle and lower fibers, and the rhomboids are contracting eccentrically by abducting on the shoulder girdle. Agonist muscles react in response to voluntary or involuntary stimulus and create the movement necessary to complete a task. Antagonist muscles act against the agonist muscles and help to move the body part back in place after the action is completed. They work in opposite direction to complete an action. The agonist always contracts to initiate movement and the antagonist stretches and lengthens to allow the movement. To return the body part to a normal position, the agonist muscle that initiated the original movement will need to become the antagonist to allow the original antagonist muscle to contract and return to normal positioning. In the volleyball serve on the left side of the body, the elbow is performing flexion. The biceps brachii is the agonist, and the triceps brachii is the antagonist because it's opposing the biceps brachii. This means that the biceps brachii is performing the concentric contraction, and the triceps brachii is performing the eccentric contraction. Another example of agonist and antagonist muscles in the volleyball serve are on the left side of the body, when the pectoralis major lower fibers, latissimus dorsi, and teres major perform concentric contractions during the movement phase. And on the follow-through phase, the pectoralis major, upper fibers, and the deltoid anterior perform the eccentric contractions.
In conclusion, the volleyball serve goes through 4 phases. The summation of these movement phases creates the volleyball serve. If this movement is executed to perfection, the server will score an ace in the match. We hope this video has given you a greater understanding of the athletic movement, the volleyball serve.